everyone, welcome to episode 42 of Two Guys, Zero Planners. It has been way too long, but Urban, we're back. Both of us happen to have whiskey this evening. What are you drinking?
Do I need to pronounce it? Col Isla, I think, one of the Isla whiskey. So really peaty and really, my sister would call it diesel, but I don't like it.
Here in Redneck Country, we call it Keoila.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm only German. This is this random order of various letters to make up Gaelic is just very, I don't know, annoying.
It's actually one of my favorites, and it costs $67 for 750 ml here in the States, at least in Oklahoma.
I don't know. It was a Christmas present from my wife. She always gets me yet another whiskey each year, and she tries to make it a tiny bit more expensive each time. So yeah, she's exploring whatever is out there, basically.
Always nice, always nice. I am drinking a almost bottom shelf special of 100 proof Evan Williams. So pretty much paint thinner from Tennessee, Kentucky, that part of the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently it sounds like they're doing leaf blower stuff outside at the apartment. So for the people listening, I think I've got everything set up to where you shouldn't hear that. But if you do, that's kind of why. The weather's getting nice, and we're recording this at 3 p.m. for me, but 9 o'clock at night for you, Urban.
Yeah, and here it's snowing again.
Yeah, last week it was 80 degrees, then it decided to rain, and I woke up this morning, and it was a nice, balmy, oh God, what was it? 37 degrees Fahrenheit? Yeah.
That's not enough for your part of the country. Yeah,
I'm not a fan of it. I'm from the desert, so the hotter it gets, the better. This whole cold thing, I'm just still not a fan of. Probably one thing we should address, other than noticing Urban caught that I misspelled turquoise in the show notes.
Well, Google did.
Honestly, I should have caught that. Well, we'll get to turquoise here in a bit, but I should probably apologize for lack of content on two fronts. First, we haven't been doing podcasts for a bit, not because of Urban, but because of me. I have been virtually impossible to schedule with, and that has also gone over into my YouTube videos.
Yeah, but I also didn't really try because this whole second wave and now third wave of the virus is just... It's getting on slowly, and it was just super hard to do anything. I could barely do the other podcast, and I switched jobs, and then everyone in the family is going crazy. So yeah, I didn't really try hard, and I was happy for not doing it for a while, actually.
I think the general consensus at this point is COVID.
Yes, I'm looking forward to 2022 when you can do stuff again.
I'm looking forward to that as well. I actually just got round one of the Moderna, however the hell you say it, their version of the vaccine. So my next appointment to get the second one is April 10th, I think. Yeah.
Nice. Meanwhile, my parents who are over 70 haven't been vaccinated yet. But that's a different topic, I guess.
Yeah, that's a different topic for a different show that... Hey, Urban, you want to do a podcast about just random events that don't have anything to do with stationery?
I mean, these days you can do that stuff, right? Because you're not going to see anyone in person anyway. So it doesn't sound like a bad idea.
Pretty
much. Wasn't that the show you were doing with Phil?
Yeah, but to be honest, doing a podcast with Phil, he's a great co-host, but he would break my brain so much with dad jokes that we would have a good conversation going. Then he would say a dad joke, and the conversation would just stop as my brain is trying to process what he just said.
But it's dad jokes. You're not supposed to just process them. There's no logic behind those. Or there is, of course, but it's just very, very sad in a way.
I don't get it.
I mean, I make them all the time as well with the kids, but yeah.
Yeah, but there's the qualifier. You have kids. All I have are dogs.
Yeah.
So we've actually got a little bit of a backlog of topics to go through, and then we've also got some new stuff, but I'm going to go ahead and let Urban pick what we talk about first. So go ahead.
Yeah, so last episode, or at some point we talked about the new Parker 51 by now it's been out and there have been various reviews. Some of them have been, I don't know, in the sense of, yeah, it's an okay pen. And the others were more or less, Parker, what are you doing? Why are you making such a cheap pen out of this? And I guess neither of us has bought it yet, right?
That is correct.
If I look at it here, I think the steel version costs around 90 euros. And then I recently decided, come on, let me get the $9 Jinhao 85 copy for now. And let's see how that does. Because I really, really like those Chinese copies. I'm a really big fan of the original design, especially about how the hood looks and the nib and how tiny it is. And that bit is basically, that design is lost in that new one. So instead I went ahead and I'm now inking up all the ones I have here, all the Chinese copies. And I'm buying more.
I think the general consensus for me is when I go to Arizona next month for my normal vacation, I'm going to see how much money I don't spend on wine, whiskey, and scotch. And if I have enough left over, I might get it, but it's not really high on my list. The entire Parker style just doesn't, for me, it does not work. One of the biggest complaints I have with pens on my YouTube channel is if there's no flange or if there's no flare at the end of the section, I cannot keep the pen held. And the 51 does not have it. It's a nice smooth taper all the way into the hooded nib.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's kind of a non-starter for me. And like you said, the price being $80, $90, 80, 90 euros just for the steel version, at that point, it's like, do I really want to spend that much money on a pen that isn't going to work for me in the first place?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, and I still haven't bought the joke Parker Urban. I still need to, right?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe at some point I will find the secondhand one and I would break down and get it. But I'm also not, one of the nice things I find about the 51 is that you also have the slip cap. And they've also gotten rid of that.
I will give the 51 one thing. That slip cap is very well done. On the original, at least. The new one, yeah, like you said, they put threads on it. And that kind of ruined the appeal of the classic.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, if you want to see a review from someone that actually has the pen and reviewed it, we've got the link for Stephen Brown's video. And definitely check that out. He does great reviews.
Yeah. He focuses on the content, not on the production value, I guess, but
well, okay,
it works for him.
Okay, when it comes to production value, just because people aren't willing to turn their recording space into an anechoic chamber doesn't mean they don't focus on the production value, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I love how he then posts all those negative YouTube comments always on Instagram, and they're also always fun to see all the people are giving him and him not giving a
I don't have quite enough followers to be that snippy yet. I still have to be nice when people leave mean comments. I mean, I vent in the back rooms. Like, I complain to you guys and Figboot all the time about comments that people leave me. But once I hit like maybe 4,000 subs, then sure, I'll go ahead and start being a little bit more flip with how I deal with stuff.
And I guess that was the new Parker 51 talk for us.
Yeah.
I mean, I still have this this Jinhao 85 in the mail, but this is coming from China. And who knows in how many weeks it's going to be here. And then we'll see how that stacks up to all the other copies I have, basically.
Right. So, that actually kind of leads into one of the topics that we had thrown at us earlier today. New pen toys. I mean, you've got that new Jinhao coming in from China.
Yeah.
It's been an interesting year for pen purchases so far for me.
Okay.
Yeah, remember how I was threatening to buy a Namiki Nippon?
Yes.
Yeah.
And how is it?
I made good on that threat, kind of. And Ron said Pilot is shipping it out this week.
I mean, nice for you. I'm not a fan of those designs, but I can appreciate that other people basically like them.
Okay, I appreciate your sentiment, but you're wrong. The designs are very well done. No, why do you what is it about the designs that kind of don't sit right?
I don't know, they're ugly.
Wow.
I don't. I don't like that style. I mean, give me, I don't know, a cheap Pilot Kakuno with, I don't know what do they have on it.
Hey, is the
some
Kakuno the one
random-
with the smiley face nib?
Yes, with some random anime character on it. I would buy that, and that would be fun. But at the high end, that design just doesn't speak to me.
See, the
What
second
can I
you
say?
said that, I was thinking of a Pilot Kakuno with Sailor Moon on the barrel of the body.
Hey, I could buy that for my daughter. We're currently buying the DVD sets of the Sailor Moon show.
I never got into that, but my older brother, for some reason, that was all he watched for like 8-9 months straight.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, can't you watch something normal like Ren and Stimpy or Cow and Chicken or something like that? It was weird. But I mean, okay, I can definitely, I want to say I can see where you're coming from. I really do, but I can't.
Okay.
I mean,
That's fine.
here's the reason why. You and I have never talked about art, ever.
Yes, I was going to mention that. So you can drag me in any art gallery and I will be so bored. I mean, my wife can spend hours looking at paintings from the Italian masters or maybe anything modern or stuff like that. And that is just, I don't know what it is, but I can't look at art. I can look at photography exhibition, that works for me, but art, paintings, no, doesn't work for me. I don't know what it is, but it's always been like that.
Okay, that actually makes a little bit more sense. Whereas for me, I would be perfectly at home at any type of art exhibition, except for postmodernist. I still do not understand any postmodern art.
Yeah, I can send you with my wife to an art exhibition and I'll go to the playground with the kids. That sounds fine to me.
Okay, biggest gripe about living where I live. I'm not saying this place has no culture, but I'm saying a Petri dish has more culture.
Yeah, I mean, Munich has, I don't know how many museums with art and stuff they stole from ancient Greece and whatever else.
Okay, we've got a couple good museums here. A few of them are down at the University of Oklahoma, and I've been to them and I really like them. It's just we don't get any good modern art exhibitions or even just art in general. We don't get any of the good exhibitions here. So yeah, that would be one thing I would love to do at some point.
Yeah, so instead you have to buy the art on the pens, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean that, and it was a really good price, so it was kind of hard for me to say no.
And did you buy anything else?
Not in that order in particular, but I caved in to some of the people in my comments section, and I have a bottle of Waterman Harmonious Green sitting in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
So there will be a review for that soon. I also got 2 bottles of the new batch of Private Reserve inks.
Yeah, they are now part of Jaffa, right? Basically.
Yeah.
Will they bring back the avocado with the spelling mistake is the main question, right?
Let me check, actually. I may have an answer to that, surprisingly enough. How do you spell avocado?
The original is spelled with an A, so AVA. So avocado.
No, these boxes have the correct spelling.
Oh. Yeah, I still have a sample of avocado, and it's a really nice olive greenish color. I will see if it's gone bad or not.
Well, someone who we're not mentioning their name may or may not have sent me a picture with all of the bottles times 2. Yeah, that's a lot of ink.
I guess so.
The only real reason I bought it, 1, I wanted to try some Private Reserve inks, but 2, Amazon screwed up on shipping me some stuff, and in a 2-week period, ended up giving me like $50 or $60 in refunds.
Okay.
On top of me actually getting the item I ordered.
Mm-hmm.
So I got some ink for free.
That's nice.
Yeah, it worked out quite well. But yeah, that's really kind of the only new pen stuff I've actually purchased.
I mean, I haven't really bought anything apart from that €9, $9 Jinhao that isn't even here yet. So instead, I sort of diverted all my funds, and I now have 4 fish tanks, and then my wife also found 2 guinea pigs that we adopted, and now we're spending all our money on vegetables, basically, and hay.
I was going to ask, how is the fish tank life treating you?
Good, I guess. I mean, 4 fish tanks is kind of a lot of work, because if you do water changes every week, then it takes a while. So I'm spending, I don't know, my Saturday morning doing all the maintenance. So I guess I will keep it at that for now and not add more. And then we will see. I don't know if we can go on holidays eventually at some point. We'll try that out once, and then we'll see if that works with all the fish tanks or not.
So, me not being a fish tank person, do tell, why are there 4 separate fish tanks?
Because it's different animals, basically. So there's fish, and there's shrimp, and then there's fish coming from completely different parts of the world, and the water is completely different, basically, right? So in some tanks, the water is super, super soft, so almost no minerals in it. And in the others, it's basically my tap water, which is just crazy hard. And depending on where a fish comes from, they prefer one or the other, basically.
That just seems like way too much work.
Yeah, but I mean, so is having so many inks and pens, right? It's just, if it's fun, then it's fun.
That is true. I mean, if you get enjoyment from it, then I guess there really is no such thing as too much work.
Well, there is, but maybe you can do a bit more work then. What stuff you don't like.
Fair enough. How did the guinea pigs happen?
There's this Facebook group that my wife is in, where people are locally in the county giving away stuff. And then someone just posted, "Hey, we have these 2 1-year-old guinea pigs that my daughter doesn't want anymore, and we have a dog, so we always worry about the dog getting in the room." And then they just gave them away, right? With everything, basically. So we ended up with 2 guinea pigs and 4 houses and some other stuff that goes along with it, right?
I noticed in a couple of the pictures, it looked like you had houses for them that looked like miniature castles. That was actually kind of cool.
Yeah, they had those castles or those houses too, and gave them away with the piggies, of course, because what do you do with those? Yeah, so we basically, now we only spend for the upkeep. Like I recently bought, I don't know, what was it, 9 kilos of hay from Austria, from the mountains, basically. That will last us for, I don't know, 3-4 weeks, because they eat so much hay. And they eat all the time, and they poop all the time, and yeah, it's a whole thing.
Now, question, is that what inspired you to have Inky Converters design you a capybara amongst a field of ink bottles?
No, that was her idea, and that's been in the making for a while. So,
okay.
I have this sort of somewhat steady income stream for FPC via Patreon, and that more than covers the hosting costs, even though they've skyrocketed a bit now that there are so many people using it. And I thought, I like her design. Maybe she can design some new logo for FPC. And now we're working there, and she's currently at the point where she came basically up with the idea of the FPC capybara. And then now we will see what will come of it. So there's a bit more to do with colors and how it will look in the end. And then I can see if I can integrate this somehow into the site with a new design. And I don't know what else. It would be nice to make stickers out of it. I don't know what else you can do. I did look up how to design a washi tape, so I don't know, but then you have to order 200 rolls or something, and I'm not sure I want to do that. Yeah, I really, really like those designs, and if shipping from the US wouldn't be so annoying and all the customs, I would have bought a lot of stickers and washi tape from her already.
I really like her, just all of her designs are really good, and if there's going to be anyone that can capture the rambunctious nature of karma popping out of a Pelican bottle, I think it's actually Angela that can do that.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
So, yeah, because that's been something I've wanted to redo now for a while, is both the Inkwell logo and the Two Guys Zero Planners logo. I just have no artistic talent whatsoever.
Yeah, neither do I. Yeah. You just need someone who can do it. Yeah.
I mean, I can see the beauty of a spreadsheet, give me numbers and data, and it looks amazing. I can do abstract art all day long. But then, of course, when I do abstract art, somebody tells me that their 7-year-old could do just as good of a job.
Yeah, it's easy to say after the fact, right? I mean, my 10-year-old probably could, because she's crazy good with as an artist already. But normally, probably it's a no. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of dogs, I should probably answer that second question that we got asked for today. Thankfully, no. There have been no more pen mishaps due to dogs.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
And of course, follow-up question, what about coffee and stirring?
So, about that. I caught myself stirring some coffee with the Kaweco Golden Espresso, and I dropped the pen into the coffee. And the coffee level was taller than the pen is tall. Mm-hmm. And the coffee was so hot that I had to wait for it to cool down so I could actually stick my fingers into it to get the pen out. So the pen actually sat submerged in coffee for probably a good 30 to 40 minutes while it cooled down.
Nice. And that's why I always ask this question.
Yeah, it's a bad habit, and ever since I switched over from working evenings to working mornings, I have been making so many stupid mistakes when it comes to my pen usage.
You need to start buying desk pens, then they are long enough.
Yeah, but the only desk pens I would really want to get are, Nakaya's, and yeah, I mean, just because, to be fair, John from Stationary Orbit did buy one of my Nakayas that I had. That one had been used to stir coffee. Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying it wouldn't happen. Actually, having a desk pen would probably ensure that it happens all the time.
Yeah, there's this €10 platinum desk pen. You could use that.
I could. But do I really want to?
Yeah, what about the fun stories you can tell then? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just wait till I can actually afford a Danny Trio, and I end up stirring coffee with a $3,000 pen.
Yeah.
This is probably why none of the companies will actually lend me stuff to do reviews with. They probably fear for their product, and rightfully so, probably.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, actually, with what I've spent recently, I probably could afford a Danny Trio at this point.
Yeah. Let's see. So I switched jobs a month ago, and there should be more money coming in soon. So maybe I can buy a pen here or there again, or maybe if I don't spend it on more fish tanks, I can do that too.
Oh hell, maybe at this rate we may only be able to afford one Sailor or two.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I mean, they were crazy expensive here in Europe anyway. Mm-hmm. So I do have 2 Sailors, and I didn't buy either of them because I didn't want to spend the money. But yeah, it's getting ridiculous slowly.
It really is, and Platinum is starting to follow the same trend, and that's kind of bugging me because they make some really good designs. But it is so hard for me to convince myself that spending the money on a Sailor is worth it for what you get.
Yeah, I mean, at that price, you can, I don't know, depending on where you go, buy 1 or 2 custom pens, right?
Depending on where you go, yeah. I mean, it was a really hard decision to spend the money on the Loch Ness Monster. It really was. Mm-hmm. I mean, now that I've bought the pen, I like it. It's a good pen. If I can actually be productive tomorrow, I will be filming the review for that pen.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try to avoid the South Park references throughout the entire video. That's going to be hard. That's going to be really hard. But it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, I can spend $250, $300 on a Sailor pen, or I can spend $250, $300 on, heaven forbid, a new manual focus camera lens that is just amazing. Or if it's for my Micro Four Thirds camera, I could actually pick up some really good autofocus glass with that.
Yeah, that is true. And then you're talking about, I don't know, I was going to say you're talking about a cartridge converter pen, but yeah, I mean, that distinction generally is not, some people say they are not as premium as other pens, but yeah, at least you can switch inks fast. But yeah.
Yeah, I will give that to the Sailors over the Pelicans that I own. The cleaning time for the Sailors is definitely less than that of the Pelicans.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of which, I did something that I thought I wouldn't do. Mm-hmm. I actually committed inks to pens for long-term use.
Yeah, I'm trying that too. I'm starting to finally dip into my sample of Lamy Dark Lilac,
Mhm.
and I'm using this Parker 51 copy for it, and I'm dipping into my bottle of Lamy Petrol, and I have this nice yellow Twispy Eco for it. So I'm trying that out too, because I wanna eventually finish something.
Well, I decided that the Moonman T1 and the Cross Calais are going to be my ink review pens because they're pretty consistent. I know what to expect from them, and those two pens are actually pretty easy to clean out. So one week I'll use the Moonman, the next week I'll use the Cross. That way I can just keep cycling them and make sure that last review's ink is out of the pen completely before I put a new ink in there.
Yep.
But guess what color I decided to ink up the entire rest of my pen collection with?
I mean, it's easy because I see the show notes, right? So it would have to be turquoise, I guess.
Kind of yes and kind of no. So both the Faber-Castell Classic and the Aurora Orlide are with Konpeki.
Mhm.
The Kaweco is using Kaweco Blue. The Pelikan M600 is using the 4001 Turquoise.
Mhm.
The 481 and the 120 are using Edelstein Topaz. The 845 is using Pilot Blue, because of course it is. The Loch Ness Monster is also using Pilot Blue, because why not fill a Sailor with Pilot ink and void the warranty? And then the Sailor Stormy Seas is filled with Waterman-inspired blue.
Okay. So I guess I have a bit of more of a mix. Obviously, I have some greens in here. I finally managed to finish my bottle of Diamine Green Black.
Mm-hmm.
So it's in the last pen, even though it's an eyedropper with a fine nib. So it will last a while, and that is one of the inks where I really need to buy another bottle, because that's such a great ink.
I mean, I like other colors on the spectrum. It's just one of those things where I find myself coming back to blue so often, and I've got so many bottles of blue ink. And let's be honest, on these piston fillers, they're not the easiest to clean out. So I wanted to go ahead and make sure I was using an ink that, I'm okay with using that ink for the long term.
Yeah.
So that's what I went with.
Yeah, I'm still trying to finish stuff. So I did ink up samples for the last few months, and now I've switched to some smaller bottles. So I have a few of the 10 milliliter Jacobin inks.
Mm-hmm.
That's almost sample sized, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going through, is it turquoise? The Vert Reseda is sort of turquoisey, I guess. And then, I'm finally using up my Lamy Dark Lilac that I've sort of extracted out of all those cartridges, which was, of course, a bit of a mess. And before it sort of evaporates, I thought I should finally use it. And that's probably, I don't know how much it is, maybe 20 milliliters, maybe even more. But it is a fun color, and it's very nice to use.
Yeah. I've got to figure out what brand I want to start reviewing next, or what direction I want to go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've got these private reserve inks, so I could do those. I still need to finish up the Waterman line.
Mm-hmm.
I want to actually go through all the Iroshizuku inks, but it's hard for me to have an upbeat review for an ink where I hate the price with a passion.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really the determining factor for whether or not I will review an ink normally, is whether or not I can bring myself to justify the price that I'm telling someone to spend on it.
Yeah. I mean, they have come down, but they're still kind of on the expensive side. That's true.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that I don't want to shill their ink, but I don't want to be accused of being a shill. Ooh, how did I miss that? Warren Klingner limited edition 50ml bottle.
Yes, this year's is a blue. I don't know if I need another blue. Probably should have instead bought the purple from last year.
Ah, okay.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know what the prices are in the US for the Rohan Klingner inks, but they're pretty well priced around here. I don't know, a bit more expensive than the Pelikan 4001s, but not too much, actually.
I mean, their price isn't bad here. It's like $12 for a 50ml bottle.
Yeah, something around that, yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad.
And they also have this line of permanent inks, the sketch inks, the pigmented ones, and they're also pretty cool. And they have some really weird colors in there. I I don't know what to even call it. It's sort of muddy but grayish, and it's a fun color and also works really nice on bad paper. I like many of those pigmented inks do.
Right. That is a good thing to have if it can actually work well on paper.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I have actually missed out on so much stuff in the pen world recently. Like this new thing from TWSBI coming out at the end of the month. That is beautiful.
Yeah, that TWSBI Draco. So it seems like they have finally figured out that rose gold plating. So they had a rose gold pen in the past, before my time basically, and apparently the issue was that this plating had flaked off on basically all pens they had sold. And now they came up with, I don't know how many they came out with, right? There's a rose gold eco, there's a rose gold, is it 580?
Yeah, they've got the 580, the eco, they've got the standard smoke, then I think there's like 3 or 4 rose gold ones.
And this Draco is basically a very similar design to the other, what was it called? Aurora, I think, which fittingly looks a bit like an Aurora pen, I find at least. And yeah, I'm basically waiting for the price, because depending on how much it is, I might also break down. Because now, so the first photos that I saw had this really, really tiny nib that they basically put on the eco and some of the other pens, and that looked really odd. But now with this 580 nib that has a bit wider wings, I think that is sort of okay-ish. I mean, they should have put in a number 6 nib, right? Then it would have looked really good. But I guess this is sort of okay, I would say.
Now it's just a matter of whether or not I can force myself into like actually buying it. That is going to be the question.
Yeah. I don't know.
I feel like I don't actually review enough TWSBI on the channel. It's a good brand. I just hardly review it.
Yeah, I mean, they found their... I mean, this is sort of, in the world of TWSBI, this is exciting because it's a new model, right? Because the other thing they do is like bring out new colors of all their pens every few months, basically. But
they pull a Kaweco. How many colors of a sport can we have?
Yeah, exactly.
Which actually, the new pastel color coming out from Kaweco this year actually looks pretty nice.
I haven't kept up which one. I only saw that lavender one.
Yeah, that. I consider lavender a pastel color just because of how my eyes process it.
Okay, yeah, that is. When I thought pastel, I thought about those Lamy pastel.
Yeah, not that version of pastel. Like just how a pastel color tends to look, because my eyes process certain colors in that kind of way. It's weird.
Yeah, no, I can see how that would be a pastel color.
Which, by the way, that makes it a pain in the to make sure that my videos are color accurate.
I mean, do you even have to? Because everyone watches this on a screen, and then what do you even know how it's going to look like, right? I mean,
well, I've got to get it kind of close, or the comment section will be horrendous.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think any of that was on the show notes there. Interesting. Wow. Yeah, that was a rabbit trail. Speaking of new stuff coming out, though, these spoke design pens.
Yes, so this is sort of on the other end of pens from the TWSBI, I guess, because those are those, I don't know, air quotes EDC type pens,
right? And
full metal. Yeah, I mean they do look intriguing, especially because they have number 6 nibs, all of them, which is cool. I don't know. I mean, at least for me, they're kind of, again, annoying because of customs and stuff. So if I were to get one, I would probably have to, I don't know, have you review it and then forward it to me. But I don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to that, but yeah, I definitely get what you're saying there. I'm trying to figure out whether or not I actually, this looks like one of those things where I would actually have to get it in my hands to see if I actually liked it. Looking at the Icon series.
Yes, because that section, right? At least,
yeah.
That, I'm not sure.
I mean, that the inward taper is a little too symmetrical from thread to flange.
Yeah, because then you would sort of gravitate toward the middle, and that seems like it's kind of far away from the paper, right?
Exactly. I like what they're doing here, though, having the interchangeable barrels or the interchangeable sleeves and the interchangeable sections. I like that.
Yeah, that is a fun idea. That is true.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then the other one, the Axle and the Axle S, that one basically has no section at all, right?
Right.
So there's always also a question if that works for you or not.
Man,
So, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, definitely with this pen, it's like I want to like it. I want to like it enough to actually spend the money to try it. But then I look at that section and it's like, is that just going to be an immediate non-starter? And that's the hard part.
Yeah. I'm also not sure.
I mean, for what it is, the pricing seems very reasonable. I'll give it that.
Yeah, I mean, they're also, at least for some of them, they have those fun colors already, which is what I would want to get. I don't know, like a purple lime green combination of the icon. I think could look fun. Yeah, I don't know.
So, I mean, not that I'm being stereotypical me here, but I would get the black with turquoise accents. Or as they call it, cyan.
Good too. Or the actual cyan with the lime green accents. That's also a great combination.
Okay, now I've got to take a look at that to see if I agree with you. Okay, so there's cyan. Let's go ahead and pull up lime green. Okay, yeah, no, I can actually agree with you there. Normally, I'm not a fan of that green color, but I like the way that looks. Huh.
Yeah, but anyway, they are back ordered. Anyway, they have problems getting the nibs, as far as I know. So there's still time to figure it out, I guess. But I mean, my personal first, I need to see how long we're doing on the design of the logo, and that's of course the first priority.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll see what's left, basically.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those. My hierarchy is get through the backlog of stuff that I need to review first, and then figure out what I want to review next and go with that. But before that, I also need to weasel in where on the hierarchy doing the logo redesign is going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of needs to be a top priority thing. But yeah, it's like, where do I want to fit that in is the question now, isn't it?
Yeah. And also, these days, it's a new pen. It's okay. I have a lot. That said, there's also new notebooks coming out from Musubi with the Cosmo Air paper. So that is kind of even more dangerous, I think, than pens to me.
So what is this Cosmo paper?
I mean, it's just a different paper. There's of course this shift in the market these days away from Tomoe River a tiny bit, because they have changed the machinery for all what they're doing, and the paper has changed a bit. And there's the question, how long will they basically keep it, and when will they, I don't know, abandon it? Because they seem to have outsourced it already to an OEM. And if it's not a priority, I don't know how many years we will have it. And now there's this sort of search for the new Tomoe River going on. That's how I see it, basically. And yeah, it's I've never tried Cosmo Air myself, so I can't really speak to it. But apparently it's a great paper, and also different to any of their other offerings out there, I guess. And I'm just intrigued. And they have introduced their new designs there, right? So you can, for the first time, you can get a lined version of their refills, and they have sort of updated their dot grid or cross grid with page numbers, actually.
Oh, wow.
At least for the Cosmo Air. I think the Tomoe River version is still the old one or something. And they have made this change of a new collection of handbound notebooks that they call Ad Hoc, which is basically a different name. I don't know. They didn't want to call it limited edition to avoid the FOMO, basically. But more or less, that's what it is. They have just a certain number of fabric, and then they use it up, and they make the notebooks they can make of it, and then they sell it, and then they're gone. I don't know if they're still there, but there was some really fun versions with umbrellas on it. Yeah, there's still the umbrella version. That is just super expensive, which is why I didn't buy it, but it looks, I really, really like that design of the cover.
Man, okay, so my personal journal is almost full. So here in approximately 15 days, I'm going to need a new one.
Yeah, but
yeah.
Do you really want to spend $100 on a 200-page notebook. I don't know. They must be really great, but that's still...
Oh no, I'm looking at it right here for the Air.
Okay, yeah, that one, that's super reasonably priced, right?
Yeah, when it comes to my personal journals, I don't go all out. I want something that is going to be beat up, and I'm okay with that. So $25 for a Cosmo, sure, sign me up, take my money.
Yeah, and the covers of, I have 2 of the Tomorrow River ones, and the cover is just super sturdy, right? I think you have some as well.
I got rid of the bank paper. It had an unfortunate end. It may or may not have met karma.
Yeah, I was going to ask either the dogs or the coffee. That's the two
well,
options.
first it met the coffee, and then it met the coffee, and then a couple of the inks that I had used in it were not friendly, and I was using bank paper for reviews. So it died, and I'm currently using a Tomoe System Tomoe River notebook for the reviews now when I do the Tomoe. Wow, Tomoe. I can pronounce this. I know I can pronounce it. When I'm doing my reviews, I use a Tomoe notebook that I think, I'll be using that for the next couple years. But for my personal notebook, yeah, sure, we'll try out this new hotness. We'll see what the Cosmo Air is all about.
Yeah. Eventually, I will switch to something more fancy as well. For my personal journal for right now is a CVS composition notebook, but the paper is surprisingly good.
Anna, that's the important thing. As long as the journal you're using is actually comfortable for you.
Anna brought it some years ago from the US when she went to one of the US shows and brought one back for every host of the Fountain Pen Companion podcast. And I finally got around to using it.
Bear with me for one moment. I may or may not be messaging a certain Inky Converters about commissioning some artwork.
You do that.
Okay, there we go. Message typed.
Nice.
Yeah. What can I say? I wanted to get it out the door while it was still fresh on my mind because I can't concentrate on things working this early morning shift. Yeah. By the way, we need to do this more often. This whole recording thing.
We should get back to it. That's true.
We really should. I mean, even if it means that the episodes are only like half an hour to 40 minutes long, I would prefer doing more episodes that may be shorter more often than not knowing when we're going to record next. It's just one of those things where it's like, I mean, also, I have a strange feeling this show could end up morphing into something that's more than just stationary.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that goes.
Yeah. I blame you and Monica for this. I really do.
Yeah. I mean, I've been heavily promoting this show on my at my work, basically, in every situation where anyone talks about something that we did an episode about, and it could be at least a tiny bit related. I'm posting a link and say, hey, here, this is this podcast that I'm doing, and let's see.
Right.
I mean, it's still super small, and with, I don't know, what are the numbers? Currently 966 downloads across 18 episodes. Isn't that big? But yeah, we're getting there, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Our last episode that we posted back in January, 221 downloads.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm happy if we have 30 downloads for an episode here. But you gotta start. I mean, it's sort of, we don't really have a community that we're part of, right? So that's no surprise that the numbers are so low.
I will say, though, a lot of the topics that you guys cover are really interesting. Like, my entire outlook on my personal resume changed.
Yeah, we did that episode on resumes and CVs, and I thought, oh god, mine is so bad.
Yeah, I looked over mine and I was like, wait, how did I actually get hired to the job I have with this ugly looking resume?
Exactly, and I thought, okay, I only got hired because the company already knew me. It's not easy. Yeah. So
yeah, definitely if you want to hear two programmers, a manager and a programmer, or a programmer
manager, and a program manager who still pretends to be a programmer.
Yeah, that actually discuss very interesting topics and just adapting to like life as it comes at you. It's a good, Expanding Beyond is a good podcast. I can't recommend it enough.
It's super fun to record. And luckily, someone here on the podcast is doing all the editing, and that's why it's still running, basically.
It was so weird actually hearing a third voice on that show for a change. I was like, wait, they have a guest. Oh my goodness.
I was so happy with the audio quality. I was so worried about that because this was my previous CTO, and on the calls at work where he was part of, sometimes the audio was so bad, and I was so worried. But it was fine, not great or perfect, but perfectly acceptable, I would say.
Well, I mean, the important thing is whether or not he's actually happy with how his audio came out and whether or not he likes how the edit of the show came out.
Yeah, we have the okay already. So that's...
Oh, cool. So that means I can delete the master editing files and you don't need me to go back through and make any more changes to it?
Yep. Release is next Wednesday.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Speaking of which, the release for Patreon supporters for this podcast will probably be 6.5 hours from now.
Cool. And then I can go through the show again and do the show notes.
Yep. So the regular people can get it here in about a week. So yeah, definitely if you want uncut versions of Two Guys Zero Planners and you want to get them before everyone else, consider becoming a patron over at, oh God, what is my Patreon link?
It should be, it's in the show notes further below if you look it up. Patreon.com/Yvgenii.
Yeah. So yeah, if you want to support the show or the YouTube channel or just all of this in general, patreon.com/Yvgenii. Even just contributing $1 a month is a lot. It really comes down to, that's awesome if you do. And you get stuff like this early. So definitely consider doing that if that's your thing. Urban, I would say before we go, just last quick thing.
Yep.
How's FPC doing?
There's always stuff happening. Let me look it up. Currently, there are 117,877 inks that people have uploaded, over 30,000 pens, and over 31,000 currently inked entries. So it's going good. And about, I don't know how many users. It's always hard to count of users. So I think it's going pretty well. There's, let's say, somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 users that are actually using the system or have used it at least once. So I think that is doing good. Eventually, I will get around to working on it to sort of develop new features instead of just doing the maintenance. But yeah, I'm happy with how this is going, actually.
Nice. Very nice. At some point, I'm going to actually have to update my FPC page. So we'll get there eventually.
That's fine. It will take you to 2. I think if you don't log in for 2 years, then I will delete stuff, not before.
Oh, okay. So I've got another year. Okay, cool. Hey, Siri, set a reminder to log into FPC 364 days from right now. Wow, she actually did it.
Cool.
Way to go. So yeah, let's try to do this more often. And if you want to follow us or see what we're doing on the social medias and support our Patreons, links are in the show notes on your podcast player of choice. As always, subscribe if... Wow, I'm so used to doing the YouTube stuff. See, like, comment, subscribe, do that. In the podcast world...
You basically have to tell someone because apparently iTunes reviews are not as useful as they are supposed to be. I don't know.
Yeah. So if you... what do people do in the podcast world? So if you like this stuff and want to spread the word and help the show grow, then share the episode link at the places you share stuff like that. Does that work, or did that sound weird?
That's fine.
Fair enough. Well, till next time. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.